Viridian, The Green Guide. By Clouds. My Head in the Clouds Not Coming Down. Read by Shadow 5. Chapter 26. Just Try. Summary. Making friends tends to be more difficult when you hate yourself. You should go mingle, Katsuki rolled his eyes at Amplifier. Yeah, 'cause a 5-minute conversation with an asshole is really gonna help these extras reintegrate into society. They were currently doing an exercise where the villains had broken into smaller groups to talk about what they'd done wrong. Something about admitting their mistakes out loud or something, to give them the power to fix them. Katsuki thought it sounded fake, but maybe that was just because he was too big of a coward to admit what he'd done. I'm just saying, Amplifier nudged his arm gently. You've been coming to these meetings for weeks and still haven't made a single friend. There were reasons for that. 1. Katsuki didn't want to do anything to jeopardize his chances of being a hero. Well, anything more than he'd already done. Which was what led him to a second reason for keeping these extras at arm's length. They were better than him. How shitty was that? A bunch of convicted villains with tracking bracelets on their legs were better than the great Katsuki Bakugo. Sure, they'd done bad things, but at least they had good reasons, be it discrimination, or money troubles, or even just bad friends. But Katsuki, he was just a jerk. Maybe this whole volunteering thing had been a mistake. These people didn't need someone like Katsuki dragging them down. Hell, if he was going to admit that though, and he had made a promise, so he was gonna fucking keep it. Go on, Amplifier smiled at him encouragingly. If you go and talk to one of the groups for 3 minutes, I'll let you brood for the rest of the time. Deal? I'm not brooding, Katsuki glared at her, but Amplifier just smiled. Damn, that face always worked on people at school, even the adults. Katsuki was gonna have to step up his intimidation game. Eventually he sighed. He'll stop bitching at me to be social? She nodded, still smiling that infuriating little smile that meant that Katsuki had lost, and she knew it. Still grumbling, he made his way to the group with that tentacle-haired freak that kept trying to talk to him. What was his name? Okawa? Whatever it was, it didn't matter, because Katsuki was just there to get Amplifier off his back, and then he'd be able to go back to... It wasn't brooding, goddammit! Katsuki grabbed a chair and sat on it backwards so his arms were resting on the back. The villain who always wore pigtails, she said it had something to do with her quirk, was just finishing her story. So, yeah, she shrugged. I robbed a couple places. What are you gonna do? They were insured, so it's not like I hurt anybody. Katsuki scowled. Yet another way he was even worse than these scum. Even when committing crimes, they didn't hurt people, whereas Katsuki had spent 10 years hurting people for fun. He sucked. I don't think that's really the point, Ogawa said. Just because no one ended up hurt in the end doesn't mean that stealing was the right thing to do. Maybe it has more to do with the effect our actions have on us, you know? Like what kind of person we are becoming? Katsuki couldn't help scoffing. Never took you for the sentimental type? Ogawa grinned. Haven't spoken to me enough to really make a judgment, have you? Whatever, Katsuki huffed. So, what about you? What kind of person did your actions make the great tentacle-haired extra? The other villains in the circle laughed at the nickname, but Ogawa simply frowned and thought about the question for a minute. I think it made me lost. My crimes were never very big, like, I never committed any felonies or anything, but... I don't know, I was just obsessed with the thrill more than anything. I think my mistakes made me selfish. And what's wrong with being a little selfish sometimes? The Frankenstein-looking villain asked. Katsuki really needed to learn these people's names, or at least come up with better nicknames for them. Nothing's wrong with it, Ogawa said quickly. It's just not who I want to be, you know. I don't want to be the kind of guy that only thinks of myself. What about you, Bakugo? Pigtailed bitch asked. You ever made a mistake? Too many to count, Katsuki thought as he glared at her. You fuckers might be comfortable wearing your hearts on your sleeves, but don't you drag me into this. Technically, you dragged yourself, Ogawa laughed. Unlike the rest of us, you volunteered to be here. Yeah, well, how else was he gonna learn to not be shitty, huh? There was only so much someone could improve from a Google search, and someone like him didn't deserve to be a hero, much less number one. But again, he wasn't gonna just say that. Fuck off. Ooh, Pigtails said. Looks like we had enough. So, what did you do? 'Cause with a reaction like that, it sure as hell wasn't nothing. Maybe I've never made a mistake in my life. You ever thought about that? Katsuki snapped. Or maybe I just don't like you. Frankenstein gave a booming laugh. Yeah, I'll believe that. Hey, lay off him for a minute. Ogawa put a hand up to stop the teasing. It takes a lot of trust to open up like we have been, and we can't scare Bakugo off when he's just gotten up the courage to talk to us. Fuck you. Give it some time, Bakugo, Frankenstein said. We're not so scary once you get to know us. I'm not a goddamn coward. The light has a bit on his tongue and he hated it. Why was he so fucking weak? Thankfully, Amplifier saved him from further pestering by calling their attention to the front. Katsuki was about to go back to his place standing against the wall, but before he could stand, Ogawa looked at him and cocked one eyebrow knowingly. Smug bastard. So, Katsuki scoffed and settled back into his chair, determined to prove that he wasn't scared. He'd already lost to Amplifier when she accused him of brooding, so there was no way he was about to let Ogawa win by saying that Katsuki was too scared to be social or some shit. He'd stick around, get to know them, still hate them, and that would prove that smug little tentacle head bastard wrong. Katsuki already hated himself, so it's not like he had any pride left to lose anyway. Izuku picked at his dinner, not feeling hungry despite how good the food looked. Mom had somehow picked up on his mood and come home a little early to make him katsudon, which only succeeded in making him feel even worse. First, he'd gone out with a broken arm, then he'd gotten in a fight with Eraserhead, and then he couldn't even hide his guilt enough to keep his mom from worrying. He was the worst. I think I'm going to set this for later, Izuku said finally. I'm not really hungry right now. Mom frowned at him, but nodded. Is everything all right, baby? There's not any problems with your new school, is there? No. School's great. I don't think I've ever enjoyed school more, Izuku said frantically. I'm glad. Mom gave a small, genuine smile. But you don't have to hide things from me, baby. I know you hid the bullying because you didn't want to worry me, but I want to know what's going on in your life. I'm strong. I can take it. Izuku laughed as Mom flexed like All Might, pushing up the flap on her arm so it looked like muscles. After a moment, Mom couldn't keep a straight face and started laughing too. It was moments like this that were almost worth living for. Almost. Izuku bit his lip. He couldn't tell Mom about the whole thing with Eraserhead, because that would mean telling her about the vigilantism, which she didn't deserve no matter how strong she was, but maybe he could hint at some of it. Well, there's this guy who I run into online sometimes. Well, online was pushing it, but he did talk to him through the computer whenever he hacked into the hero comps. We run in a lot of the same circles. A boy? Mom teased. Should I be worried about someone stealing my baby's heart? Izuku blushed and grimaced. Ew! No, it's not like that at all. He's like a grumpy old uncle or something like that. Gross! No! Mom chuckled. Alright. Still, you need to be careful about people you meet online, even if romance isn't involved. I don't want some creep showing up at our house all of a sudden. Don't worry, I'm very careful with my identity. Izuku smiled briefly at his inside joke before letting his face fall as he continued. But we kinda got in sort of a fight, and I'm scared that he's disappointed in me. Mom sat down next to him and started rubbing circles on his back. What makes you think that? He thinks I should be worried about having friends. Izuku muttered. But I don't have any friends to be worried about. Mom's eyes started shining like she was about to cry. Oh, baby. And it's fine, Izuku said quickly. I mean, I haven't had friends in years, and online school is great, and like I said, I run in the same circles as this guy, and they don't seem to hate me yet, which is better than I usually get, but I just can't help feeling like I've disappointed him, because maybe I just haven't been trying hard enough. Mom was silent for a moment, still rubbing his back. Well, you don't have to do anything, but if you wanted to go out and try to make a friend, then I'd support you. If it works, then problem solved. And if they're a jerk, then at least you can tell this guy you tried, right? I guess that could work, Izuku said slowly. But who would I even... Izuku paused. He didn't know a lot of people outside his middle school, and anyone from there wasn't going to work for this experiment. Who else did he... Oh, there was that electric kid who worked at the hardware store who seemed kinda nice. He glanced up at the clock. Yeah, the store should still be open for a couple hours, so if you left right now, you might be able to run into him. Izuku hopped, making Mom yelp in surprise. I gotta go. I'll text you if things work out. Mom blinked a few times, then smiled. Alright, just don't get home too late. I don't want you walking around in the dark. Good luck, baby. Izuku grinned at her as he left, then closed the door and took a deep breath. Thanks, he said softly. I'm gonna need it. Yay! Kaminari's gonna get involved again. Yay! I'm very excited about that. Anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 26 of Viridian the Green Guide, and I'll see you all next time. Bye! Hey, outtakes. Never took you for the sentimental. No! Never took you for this. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed Man, I can't talk. It's the outro. I can't talk.